Welcome back to That Finance Show with me, Tom Morgan. This is episode 3 of the house renovation project. Go back a couple of weeks and watch episode 1 and 2 because we're going to pick right back up where we finished at the end of episode 2. Let's get on with it. So, as a very brief recap, my wife and I have embarked on a pretty big home renovation project, and I've been documenting every step for you and also keeping a track of the money that we're spending and talking about the numbers and the maths throughout. We are currently now at the end of week 8 and we are on the final stretch. In fact, I think this is probably going to be the final episode with 4 or 5 weeks left. Here's the counter in the bottom corner of where we got to at the end of episode 2, but I have some serious numbers to add to that because we have been buying radiators and other bits and bobs which, my God, are more than you think. But the big one, we have just sent the money for the full kitchen appliances units, the lot, the big one. So let's update the counter now, and that is where we're at on current spend. What's worse is there's actually quite a lot more of the stage payments that are due to the builder over the next week or so you're really going to start to see that figure ramp up. And if you remember, as a bit of a recap, my guesstimate at the start of this project was 70,000. So let's see how close we end up being to that figure by the end of this episode. What's happened at the end of week 8? Well, look, the lovely lantern is finally in. There are some finishing touches left to go on this lantern, but we're really pleased with how that's looking and the light it's bringing in downstairs. The bifolds are also in, as you saw from my stupid little entrance. There's no glass in them. That wasn't an illusion, there's no glass. That arrives first thing in the morning, so there will be glass in by the end of next week. And the same goes for that big gallery window on the side. So glass goes in then first thing tomorrow morning on Monday, and the plasterboarders are all here ready to start boarding and plastering the walls. And then we've got decorating, and then the kitchen fitter starts, etc. So we really are on the home stretch. So at the end of week 9, I think this room is going to look really different with some plaster on the walls, and it will start to really look like one big space. Later on in the episode, I'm going to start to show you the CAD designs and mock-ups of the kitchen layout so we can see what we're putting where and why. And I also want to answer the question about where is the money coming from to fund this project. There was a huge amount of thinking that went into that question, umming and ahhing, and I want to let you in on what was decided and where the money is coming from to fund this pretty big spend. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Let's see you at the end of week 9 and we'll catch up then. Welcome to the end of week 9. So as promised, the glass is all in on those lovely bifold doors and that big gallery window. You can see all the glass is in. And also, have a look at the front of the house. The new window is in the front, that garage conversion is complete. So now you can start to see what the new playroom looks like for the kids. And we have plaster on all of the walls at last. So it's really starting to look like one big space. A little bit of extra money has gone out this week. I'm going to update the counter now in the corner, but we are still waiting for some of the big payments, which I know I keep saying, but really are all queued up. So I would think probably next week there's probably 2, 3, maybe even 4 stage payments out to the builder. The builder's been dead relaxed on the payment schedule, so I'm just waiting for him to sort of call on the money really. So that figure will be going up pretty sharpish. So we're moving closer now to the kitchen fit. We're a couple of weeks away. The kitchen should be arriving at the end of this week. We're having some paint put on the walls first, and then the kitchen arrives and the kitchen fitter starts next week. So I'm going to bring up on screen now, here are the CAD designs that we've had done by the kitchen provider to show you the rough layout of what's going where. So we're running the kitchen all the way down one of the main walls, fridge freezer at one end, cooker in the middle, and then a couple of large units at the other end, so it looks nice and symmetrical. Nice big island in the middle with a breakfast bar and wine cooler and all those lovely things. and then the washing machine and tumble dryer and a few cupboards in the new utility space that we've built. Units are going to be a navy blue colour, white quartz tops, and we've just been to the flooring shop this week and chosen all the flooring, and that's going to be an Antico floor, which is this LVT luxury vinyl tile they call it, sort of wood effect, and I think we're going for a bit of a herringbone pattern, so yeah, really looking forward to seeing it all come together. So look, before we move on, and I'm going to leave you for a week, let me just give you a few little shots so you can get a good feel for the space, and I'll see you at the end of week 10. Wow, end of another week, and wow, what a week it's been. There is paint on the walls. So look, this is really starting to look a bit more cheered up. Yeah, so we're really starting to get there, and half the kitchen is here. Why half? Well, nothing ever runs smoothly, does it? Long story, but the rest of it is meant to be appearing first thing Monday morning, which is a good job really, because the kitchen fitter starts first thing Monday morning. Yeah, anyway, we'll see how that plays out. The big news is the big money has gone out. We are now only one payment away from making the final payment, which is due on completion of everything. So here is the current counter on the spend. Ooh, a big old figure, huh? What's interesting though, remember my guess was 70,000, that's the budget that we put together, and we are closing in on that figure, and obviously there's not a lot left to pay for, so I think we're going to be pretty close, but let's watch this space because we're not done yet. But while we're on the topic of money, where is all this money coming from? I mentioned that is something that we would go through. So first things first, we did explore the idea of using our own savings and investments and our own money in different places to do this. The first thing is, we wouldn't have had enough really to cover all of this, and even if we did, it would have left us with not a fat lot else. So that wasn't a goer. And also, I don't want to liquidate a lot of the investment positions that I've got, so that wasn't really a goer. What we ended up doing is actually getting a further advance on the mortgage for the lion's share of the spend. So about 80% of the spend is coming from a further advance from the bank at a really low interest rate. I forget the exact rate, it's around 2–2.5%. The logic being that actually my investments are performing well, doing a lot better, and I'd rather use some cheap money that somebody else is going to lend me in order to put this on and add the value to the home, etc. The rest of the spend is coming from me, so I will top up anything out of savings and or investments, but ultimately what it will mean is that we've still got plenty of savings and investments left intact after all this is done, which is exactly the position that I wanted us to be in. So, as always, we'll catch up again at the end of next week when hopefully half of this kitchen will be in and you'll start to get a feel for it, but who knows, the rest of the half of it might not even turn up and I might be doing a pretty grumpy end of week update. Anyway, see you next week. Welcome back. First things first, I lied. 2 weeks have passed. I didn't have a chance last week to do the update, and to be honest with you, it was complete chaos in there. There was stuff everywhere, kitchen, yeah, anyway. So I decided to skip a week. So 2 weeks have gone by. We've got render on the walls. I'm really pleased with how this looks. I really think the contrast on the light render against the anthracite grey frames on the windows and doors really looks good, and we've got nearly all the electrics in as well. You can see there, trying to get my finger on it, lights are all done, so the electrics are nearly done. Plumbing not yet, that's the end of the week. The kitchen is 70% fitted, but I'm going to save that for a proper reveal. We've still got worktops and things to go on, so I'm going to save that. So let's update the counter. Here's the counter, more money has gone out, that's where we're at. So I'm going to see how the next few weeks, I think we're 2 or 3 weeks away from this being finished, so I will decide whether I'm going to continue with the weekly update or I might just return for a grand reveal of everything at the finish. So if you've stuck through this all the way from the start, thank you. Hope it's been interesting and useful, watching the numbers and the spend, and let me know what you think in the comments below. But yeah, I will see you soon, and hopefully we're not far off a grand reveal. We're here. The end. We finally made it. Before I get into showing you all the numbers and all the spend, the boring important stuff, let's just show you around, shall we? Ready for some kitchen porn? Cue the music. No, not that music. Better. Follow me. So, there you go. What do you think? Like it? Hope so. Or are you sat there thinking, why did they choose that? Anyway, first things first, we're not actually at the end of week 14, as we should have been based on the timeline. Turns out it took an absolute age to get all the finishing touches done. So I can't actually tell you what week we're at, but we're quite a way on from week 14, but hey ho. Anyway, you know that we've been keeping track of the spend from start to finish, and I'll bring back up on screen now where the counter got to on the last update. And you know that 70,000 was the target budget that I'd set for this project. So what did we spend? Ready? £75,251. About 7.5% over budget, £5 more than I wanted to spend. Which you might be thinking is not bad going. Well, unfortunately, the story doesn't quite end there. Do you ever watch an episode of Grand Designs where they set a budget and then all of a sudden they pull money out of nowhere to spend another 100 grand? Well, don't worry, I haven't done that. That doesn't annoy anybody more than it annoys me. But the garden did get pretty destroyed as part of the build, and with 2 young kids, we wanted to make it safe and usable for the summer. So we had to throw a little bit more money at the garden, getting the patio done. So we actually spent another £7,100 out there in the garden. So that brings the total spend up to £82,351, about 18% in fact over what I'd hoped to spend. Ouch. I have to say though, much of the overspend was through choice rather than error. We upgraded and changed a few little bits on the design as we went through. The only real error that we made from a spend point of view, which pushed us over the original 70,000 if you don't count the extra in the garden, was I way under budgeted for the flooring throughout due to having the wrong measurements when guessing how much the flooring might cost. That was a balls up on my part, but apart from that, everything went pretty much to plan. Thank you everybody for following along. I really hope this was of use. If you followed the full 3 episodes from start to finish, I really do hope that you got some value from it. Now I'm off just to look for another job to pay for all of this, but in the meantime, I think my wife and I have earned a well-deserved drink. This wasn't stressful at all. See you next time.